From San Antonio, Texas, home of the Alamo, the Riverwalk, and the World Heritage San Antonio Missions, this is the Exit Planning Coach podcast with John F. Dini. Designed to help advisors who work with business owners, John talks with top professionals in the exit planning field about best practices, marketing tips, and how to be more effective when working with owners. Now, here's John F. Dini.
Hi, I'm John F. Dini, and welcome to the Exit Planning Coach. Today, my guest is Mary Richter. Mary is a tax shareholder with Schneider Downs, one of the top 100 accounting, tax, and consulting firms in the country. With 30 years of experience in both industry and public accounting, Mary has worked with an array of companies, and she is focused on helping her clients succeed. Whether she's counseling closely held businesses on their next step or dealing with complex tax matters, Mary is dedicated to providing value and opportunities for clients. She has been involved with several organizations helping women, families, and those with disabilities prosper and lead lives of personal significance. Welcome, Mary. It's great to have you on the podcast, and thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us.
Well, thanks, John. I'm excited to share some thoughts and experiences with the audience.
Great. Now, as an accountant first and an exit planner second, what made you decide to take on exit planning as a second specialty?
So I would say that, as an accounting professional in a mid-market city, Pittsburgh, I've always worked with owner-operated businesses. And in fact, my parents were small business owners. Oh. And so seeing them figure out what to do in retirement. Do you sell it? Can you sell it? What are you selling? But also dealing with a large variety of clients over the years. I just really have a passion to try and help my clients. And there's obviously a need for business owners to get tools to maximize their return on a lifetime of hard work and in building their business. Most of them just don't know where to start and they need help. And, it's personally rewarding to me and to others that I've talked with to be able to help those business owners achieve their goals, particularly when you've worked with them over a number of years or sometimes even decades.
Sure. And as I often say, the exit planning profession, talking to business owners about exit planning is kind of talking about funeral pre-planning. It's something that they all know they should be doing, but there is always tomorrow. Describe your typical first meeting. You've got a new client, and they've presumably said, or an existing client, they've presumably mentioned something about getting out of the business. And sooner or later it occurs to them it's probably going to be the most important financial transaction of their lives, and maybe they should talk to somebody about it. So they bring it up to you. What does your first meeting with that client look like?
Well, so a couple of things. First, if it's an existing client, I hope I'm the one bringing up that topic, because the last thing we want is I don't want a client coming to me and say, I got an offer and I'm going to take it. Yes. Because then it's really too late to help them, right? We can help them a little bit, but not really. So hopefully, we've made a big push to go to our clients in the right profile and just tell them what we're doing. Maybe they don't need our help right now. Maybe they don't want our help right now, but if they know we can help them, maybe they'll call or we'll have the opportunity to talk again. But my first session really with them is really listening, right? Obviously depends how well you know the client, how long you've been working with them, but really listening to hear what they want, what's on their mind, what are their personal goals? Do they have personal goals? What is their family position? All the stuff that we talk about in exit planning. What are their concerns? Are there family dynamics at play? So again, it's really a listening session and gathering information. And then, my message to them is pretty simple. Like my job is to be a facilitator, to be a coach, a taskmaster, maybe a shoulder to cry on, a confidant, an advocate, and probably a little bit of your conscience. And so, if I can express that we're there to serve those roles, to keep the process moving, if they commit to the process, we can help them develop and achieve their goals.
That's funny. It's not complex at all what we do.
It's so easy. I don't know why everybody's not doing it.
And that's not even the professional skills that go into it.
That's right.
That's just the soft skills that go into it.
I think of it as we are exit planners are kind of like the angel and devil on people's shoulders, right? We tell them like, hey, look at this. No, look at this. And just give them ideas, options, thoughts to stir up, other considerations. If we sit and talk about it, maybe we can come up with a better idea than previous.
Right. And the options are so important. I had a call with someone yesterday, a search funder. I don't know if you're familiar with the search funders that have been coming out of the universities. They want to buy one company and run it. And, and this happened to me when I was a business broker too. What do you want to buy? Well, I think light manufacturing would be good. Why light manufacturing? Well, because I don't want a restaurant and I don't want retail and I'm not an accountant and I'm not an attorney and I'm not an architect and I don't have a trades license. So light manufacturing, obviously that's what's left, and it's kind of the same when we talk about exit planning, right? What do most of your clients say they want to do with their company when you first talk to them?
Well, they either say they want to sell it
Right.
or they want to give it to their kids.
Right. Well, outside the family business, I think about 85% say they want to sell it. And if they knew the statistics on that, they would be desperately searching for an alternative. So,
That is true.
you mentioned options, and that's, I think, the first thing in our first obligation is to tell them they do have options. There are other ways of disposing of their business. What do you think is the most important factor in getting somebody to start, in converting a prospect into a client? I mean, they may be a client already on the CPA side, but in saying, you're right, I really need to get serious and I really need to sit down with you, Mary, and stop just talking about this. If you have a magic line, quick, give it to me.
Well, I don't know that I have a magic line, but I will say COVID has kind of taught people like, oh, stuff does happen in the world. And, there really is a reason to have a contingency plan, right? We've seen a lot of business owners either have to get more involved, involved in the business during COVID. And they're just like, this is not what I want to do. Maybe some have refound their passion for their business, but a lot of them have said, no, I don't want to do this. So I think the first thing is really education. As we've already talked about, people don't know that they have options, what the options are. So educating clients, but again, it's really establishing that real genuine rapport with clients in transparency. Yes, I can help you sell your business, but let's talk about what you really want to do. Do you really want to sell your business? What are your parameters? What do you need? Can you get that much money? Have you thought about what you're going to do afterwards? So I think, being honest, tactful, hopefully as well, but making sure we understand and share in the client's goals and vision, and also making sure that the client understands we may challenge their assumptions, but all in the hope and desire to get them the best outcome possible.
Yeah, I so strongly agree. One of the things I say often is we have to be truth sayers. It may not be pleasant, and usually, when we start with an assessment, I love the assessments we get that say, I have managers that make all the day-to-day decisions in my business, and I work 60 hours a week.
That doesn't make sense there.
Right. I'll go in and I'll sit down with the prospect the first time, even if they're not an existing client, and say, this is very interesting. Either one of these two things is a lie, or you have an unsaleable business. Which one is it? and that usually brings them up short a little bit. That first attitude is, well, who are you to say that kind of thing to me? I'm the guy that tells you the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's crucial. First of all, I'm not smart enough to remember different stories for different,
Right. Yeah.
but more importantly, I think clients can see that, right? And so they have a goal, and I can only help them with their goal if I really understand and tell them the truth.
Right.
It is what it is. A lot of people don't like that saying, but the situation is what it is. What do we need to do to get to your goals?
Yeah.
So if we don't start on a solid foundation, they're never going to get to their goals, or they're going to be one of that 75% that regrets having sold their business.
Yes. Yes. Okay, let me stop just for a second so we can pay for the podcast, and then we'll be back in just 1 minute, and we'll continue this conversation because I'd really like to talk to you about being a planner in a larger organization. Okay, we'll be right back.
How would your practice survive if only 25% of your clients were happy with your work? How many referrals would you get? Would you advertise that success rate? Over the last decade, both the Exit Planning Institute and PwC have surveyed owners and found that 75% were profoundly unhappy a year after their exits. In 10 years, the exit planning industry has done little to fix this issue. Business owners need purpose, direction, and activity after exiting. Planning for that starts with your very first coaching conversation. We work with advisors who believe that clients should be happy after exiting. ExitMap is a structured discovery process that helps you have deeper conversations about client options, objectives, and life after the business. We help you launch better transitions. Take a test drive at exitmap.com.
All right, we're back with Mary Richter of Schneider Downs in Pittsburgh. We're having a great conversation about how we get started with clients. At this point, I frequently ask people how do they market for new business, but you're in a large firm. I mean, you must be able to just sit there and have your colleagues just pass you new exit planning clients. I'm so envious. I'm a solo practitioner, Is it tough handling the influx of business that comes every day, or?
So that's a great lead in. So we are fortunate as a firm. We have a lot of clients, and we traditionally have worked with many owner-operated businesses. So, our clients fit the demographics nationally and internationally of baby boomers with businesses. We're also fortunate because we offer a lot of different services that can be involved in exit planning. So we have the opportunity to really kind of bundle, and that's how we started this practice, is bundling our services to really go in depth with a client and see what do they need. Do they need evaluation? Do they need estate planning? Do they need tax planning? Do they need financial modeling? Do they need operations review? Do they need to think about automation of their processes? So being at a large firm, we have those clients that we're working with in those areas and who fit the exiting process. But I want to also say it's not just for baby boomers, right? So for everybody leaving a business, somebody's coming on board. And so they're not all PE firms coming on board with clients or public companies. There still are a lot of private owners. And so we can help them as they onboard to also succeed. So, again, we're so fortunate as a larger firm to have so many inputs and hopefully be able to offer so many different avenues with some value.
That's, I want to just talk about this a bit more because in the National Exit Planners Survey, I think the number was something like between 80 and 85% of exit planning advisors are in firms of 5 people or fewer. So it really is a little unusual to have a multi-specialty firm where somebody is the key for exit planning, at least so far. It's a little unusual. Hopefully that will grow. But, when I've worked with a lot of CPA firms, and, I often see a kind of keep my clients close to the vest mentality. The tax people don't refer a whole lot to audit. The audit people don't refer a whole lot of tax. Neither one of them refer a whole lot to consulting. And, when you talk to, especially the tax folks and say, have you ever talked to this client about exiting? They say, yeah, well, I mentioned it last time. And he said, when I come by to pick up my returns next year, I'll talk about it. And they've been saying that for years. Do you experience any of that? People who, and I don't mean they don't trust your expertise, but they're afraid to talk to their clients about it. They're afraid to knock their clients off track with it.
Yeah, I think, so at our firm, we are set up a little bit differently in terms of compensation. So we're not a book of business firm. So we're actually incented to bring other people to the table.
Oh, okay.
What I would say to any accounting firm that's out there is, every statistic says the more services you offer a client, the stickier they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we have such a wide array of services, it's always been our mentality to introduce other areas that we can help our clients to better serve them. And, yes, we want to help clients, but we're doing it for a profit. So we have
Sure.
a variety of services. One of them is investment wealth management. So with $2 billion plus under management, we can really help those clients. So why wouldn't I, right? I want to keep that client. If they sell their business, oh yeah, we might not do the audit anymore, but they're still going to need a personal tax return. And if they have money to invest, I'd really like them to invest it with us. So I think our message to my colleagues, to our colleagues within the firm has been, yes, we might lose some service when they sell their company, but they're going to sell it whether or not you talk to them about it or not, right? But we can either transition to the new owners. We've done that successfully a number of times. And maybe we can get some wealth management or estate planning or whatever along the way. So, I don't want to say grab what we can, but we can continue to provide services after a sale and to the new ownership.
Right. Well, and certainly a change of ownership for both accountants and bankers is one of the top reasons why firms change their professional relationships. New owners come in. If you have the opportunity to walk a transaction through and become known to the new owners as somebody that knows the company, knows what they're doing, you've seen it before, you've worked with them, you know the ins and outs. They don't have to play catch up with a new firm. That can be a powerful tool for establishing a new 20-year relationship.
That's absolutely right. As well as if they see you, and I do agree, you're truth sayers, as you mentioned, if they see that you are honest and fair, that's generally attractive to people and they want to deal with people who are honest. So if you can express that in working on sort of the other side, they're more apt to stick with you. And a lot of the times, at least some of the management stays in place. And if you're close to the management throughout serving the client, they don't want to change either. And so again, more touches, more stickiness, continuing client. To me, there's no downside there.
Yeah. Let me ask you a geographically specific question about Pittsburgh. Now it's been a long time. Well, I was in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago speaking, but it's been a long time since I was a salesman on the road and was terrified of going to Pittsburgh because it always seemed I went across the wrong bridge and could never, ever get back. But Pittsburgh has been, a what do I want to say, an icon of revitalization. I mean, an old industry, steel town, blue collar, has really turned itself into a learning center, a research center, a high-tech center, really done a great job. When you talk to small family businesses, or family businesses, they don't have to be tiny. I'm not talking about mom and pops, but let's say Main Street businesses. Have you seen a big shift in the type of businesses you're working with?
Manufacturing is still pretty ubiquitous throughout the area. There's just a long history of manufacturing. That has shifted to advanced manufacturing. A lot of robotics here. We have great universities, so There are a lot of programs with robotics and artificial intelligence. So we see a lot more of that in our manufacturing clients. So kind of shifting a little bit there. I would say over the course of my career, many, many more professional services firms. I think the national and maybe global economy is shifting more towards service firms. And we've definitely seen that from, law firms, consultants, engineers, architects, any of those. We really see more of that happening.
Does that shift your approach any? Do you do more internal transfers now, or more third party, or more private equity kind of deals?
Definitely a lot more private equity. Pittsburgh kind of wasn't on the map for private equity 10 years ago at all. It's gotten on the map. Hopefully we stay on the map. I think there is a new artificial intelligence robotics center coming online soon. It's kind of starting to operate. Pre-COVID, we had a lot of autonomous vehicle research happening here. That is still happening. That's going to probably start to get commercialized. And so, the startup sector kind of related to that is growing quickly. We're kind of like Silicon Valley without the high prices. So, if anybody's listening and wants to work in tech, you can live here at a reasonable cost. And there's lots of opportunities with companies and the universities really pushing that. So a little bit of change, but, we have seen more startup type entities and tech and also biomed, which is good. And I think I want to make the point that exit planning is not just for traditional businesses either.
Right.
The startup sector, the whole thing is to exit, right? So it's just a different take on that. But, we can help those clients in our profession as exit planners from the get-go, right? We don't have to wait till they're 30 years till they're ready to sell.
Right.
We can help them plan from the initiation, like, okay, what's your plan? How do we get to your plan? So, I urge other practitioners to think about exit planning as not just for, old-fashioned manufacturing companies, but it's really for all industries.
I'm going to show my mastery of trivia here. My understanding is the reason you have so much autonomous vehicle research in your area is because if they can teach the cars to respect the Pittsburgh left, they can do anything.
I think you're right. And I think the autonomous vehicles aren't the problem. It's the actual drivers
Right.
competing against them and our geography and topography is a little challenging. So yes, you're correct.
It is.
That's why so much is happening here, as well as the universities have great AI programs.
Well, it was great talking to you. This is a wonderful introductory session. If obviously this is an advisor to advisor podcast, if other advisors want to contact you because they need specialty help on their team, can you tell us how they can do that?
Yes, I'd be happy to talk to anyone. I'm sure you can just Google my name, Mary Richter in Schneider Downs. You can find my email. I'm not sure, John, if that'll be presented with
Yes.
the podcast. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to anyone and see if we can work together.
Okay. It'd be great. And we can't wait to have you back. And we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks again. And we look forward to seeing you in Pittsburgh, hopefully not making a Pittsburgh left.
Yeah, I don't know how I survived in Pittsburgh because I didn't hear about that till years later. I probably almost killed somebody, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, probably somebody was going to do that to you, but I'm sure it's fine. You're here alive and well. So
Okay.
we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.